Hi, everybody. I am Jessie, and I'm here with Kevin from Green Banana SEO. So, hi, Kevin.
Hi, how are you? Thanks
You're
for
lurk-
having me.
Thanks for being here. You are lurking in the, what were we calling it? The Lego room
Yeah,
right
right
now?
outside the Lego room, my kid's Lego room, because the office is being used. So, we got things like
Storming.
this that AT-ATs and boats and stuff.
Getting creative here.
Yeah,
So, every week we try this, and I have some sort of technical difficulty. But this week, Kevin's here. We're in our normal situation. So I'm happy to have everybody join. If anybody's watching, feel free to comment, ask questions. I have a laundry list here. A little bit about Kevin. So I'm a former client of his, and I've recommended many a company to them. So Kevin, do you want to give kind of like a quick rundown of what you guys
sure,
do and where your expertise is?
sure. Um, so we're a performance-based SEO company that, this is our 12th year in business. We're most known for pay for performance, which is we get our clients on page one of the Google search. If they're not ranking, they don't pay. If they're ranking, they pay. Our big secret is there's no secret, which I will talk about later in this conversation. But over the 12 years, we've really grown into a full service agency. So now we're a Google Premier partner. We do tons and tons of Google AdWords. We do a lot of things like Facebook marketing, Instagram. We do geofencing, display advertising, OTT, which is a silly acronym for over the top television or connected TV. A lot.
Wait, what's geofencing? That's one I've never heard of.
So geofencing it's a pretty creepy tech where you can actually draw a circle as small as 10 feet around an area, and everybody that walks into that circle with a cell phone, we're able to serve ads up to their phone for the next 30 days. And we can see, let's say if we were serving ads in a bookstore and we wanted people to go into a coffee shop, we can see how many people saw the ads in the bookstore and made it into the coffee shop because we track their phones and see if they saw our ads and made it into the other location.
Creepy, but
Yeah,
kind of cool. So I'm a big
it's super
advocate
cool.
of targeted advertising, and we're going off topic a little bit. I
Yeah,
promise we'll bring it back. But while we're talking about it, I actually like targeted advertising, and it's not because I'm a marketer, but we live in a world inevitably where we're going to get ads, no matter
right,
what we do, who we talk to. So why wouldn't I want to get targeted stuff that I'm actually interested in?
right. And why waste the money on, when you're watching a Super Bowl ad, you're serving a Dodge Ram truck to everybody, whether they want one or not, where you can be
Mhm.
super specific in, either geolocate people, and or say, I just want to serve to men who are into landscaping who like big trucks, right? So you can be specific, and you're not wasting your ad revenue on, you know, um, teenage girls who are not remotely interested in trucks.
I mean, you never know.
But you never know, right? They may have truck search behavior, but you can see all
Right.
that stuff with the
So,
data.
but
Right.
even like a coffee shop, I know a lot of, there's been a couple of people commenting. So I am watching the comments. If you guys have questions, please ask. But like if you were a coffee shop or massage therapist, for
Right.
example, and somebody ends up in that what do you call it, geo-fenced
Yeah.
area, you could
Yep.
say, hey, stop in for a 5 minute, a 20-minute back massage for mention this ad and
Right.
get $5 off or something. Like how
Right. Or
cool would that be?
right. For like massage therapists, you can geofence a gym, because a lot of those people are going to have issues where they would need a massage therapist, and say, hey, let's just target
Mhm.
the yoga studio or the gym or the Tough Mudder event.
Yeah,
You can even do
totally.
events like that.
So let's go. Was there anything else that you missed that I cut you off in the middle that you wanted to share with these guys on what you guys do? Otherwise, I'm going to dive right into
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah, that's the crux of it.
Okay. All right. So a lot of people were asking about SEO basics. So
Mhm.
SEO means search engine optimization. Can you
Right.
kind of define the difference between um, SEO and SEM? Because people will see those terms. I
Sure.
want to hear it from the horse's mouth, though.
Okay. So, do you have the ability to do a screen share?
I probably do, and I don't know how to do it in
Well,
here.
it's okay. I'll tell everybody right now. If you Google the word flat screen TV, the first three ads that you're going to see. The first 3 searches that you're going to see are typically going to be paid ads, and there's a teeny little thing up on the top that says ad. In that, that's a paid advertisement. When you Google flat screen TV, you're going to see these ads from like Target or Best Buy or something, that every time that someone clicks that ad, you have to pay for that click. And the cost of that click is not determined by Google. It's determined by the competitive pressure of all the other people below you. It's sort of like an auction or a bid system. So if you want to be page 1, number 1 in a Google ad, you have to bid higher than everybody that's below you. The cost per click varies all across the board. So we've seen cost per click for 25 cents. We had a DUI attorney in Phoenix, Arizona that was $450 a click. And that's just a click. And it's because
did you say $450 a click?
It was awful. So $900 a day, they're getting 2 clicks from drunk people. It's a tough campaign.
Oh God.
But that they got to that click because all the other attorneys bid each other up into that spot.
Yeah.
So an organic position is below that, and it's below that because Google wants it to be below it because they get all their money from the Google clicks. But the organic position is what Google has determined is the most relevant placement, the page 1, number 1 for flat screen TV in the organic section, which is below the paid, is what Google has determined is the most relevant page on the internet for that keyword phrase that they have typed in. All right. Sorry, that's my phone. So that, and if you, depending on like what sources you read, 70 to 80% of the searches happen in the organic spot, 20 to 30% happen to the paid spot. For everybody that says to me, I've never clicked this paid spot, I show them Google's market cap and how much money Google makes. And then they stop saying that no one clicks the paid ads because people click the paid ads because that's where Google makes a lot of their money. However,
Hi, everybody. So this is where we had some technical difficulties. The audio cuts out. But to summarize the conversation we had, so we were discussing how in Google, you can see where the Google results, the paid ads are at the top of the page, and then the organic search stuff shows up underneath it. So a lot of the SEO that we're talking about and these solutions we're talking about have to do with how you set up your organic search results, and then how you set up, hire a company like Kevin's and do paid results as well. So combining the both is really what you want to be thinking about and how you tackle that. The rest of this video talks a lot about organic search results, how to set up your website to optimize for search results, how you get on what's called page 1 of Google. So if you look for the key phrase that you're looking for, so let's say we're looking for, architecture or landscape architecture, how do you optimize your website to show up on the first page of the Google results in organic search for landscape architecture? So that's the conversation we continue to have. So once the audio resumes, we'll edit this together. And what shows up is Kevin and I are in the middle of talking about how this is a crazy world that we're living in, and that sometimes some technical difficulties happen, and just going with the flow. So enjoy the rest of the video that we live in at the moment with what's going on. And a lot of these technologies are trying to keep up to figure out, Facebook Live normally doesn't allow you to have the split screen. They got rid of that functionality. So trying to find something else that does.
Maybe there's maybe Zoom, next.
I've done Zoom, but you can't do the live version of it. So you're doing the Zoom and then we record it and then I publish it afterwards. So there's something nice about, like even now, like people are asking questions for us, even as speakers, they can hear us now. They're commenting.
Cool. Okay.
So, okay. I'm not going to touch anything then. So if you comment, I'll see it pop up, but I don't know who you are. So, okay, good. They can hear us.
No button.
No button pushing here. Okay. So going back to websites, and I have magical ways of editing all this together in a nice video after the fact. What's the number one? And just for reference, I do have seed questions over here. So I'm looking down and that's what I'm looking at. So what's the number one thing people miss for SEO in their website? Like, what's the number one thing that you notice out of all of the other little things?
Picking your keyword phrase is absolutely the number one. So picking your keyword phrase or your phrases. When when you think about search engine optimization, Google's job is to return the most relevant page, not website, but page for the keyword phrase that you're typing in. If you Google the word basketball, the Wikipedia page outranks the NBA page because that page is only optimized towards the keyword phrase basketball. So the key mistake that people make when they're SEOing their site or deciding to SEO your site is you have to pick what you want your site to rank for and build it with the end result in mind. So think about one of the reasons we call the company Green Banana is I was doing a presentation years and years ago on some topic that was super boring. And I said, all right, let's forget about this really boring topic. It was like some engineering thing, not that engineering is boring, right? But, right? But I said, all right, we're going to go open up a fruit store and I'm going to show you guys how to rank banana on page 1. I couldn't find a yellow pen. I could only find a green pen. So I said, all right, here's how we're going to rank green banana on page 1. So what most people do is they build their fruit store page, their fruit store website, and they put apples, bananas, cherries, blueberries, oranges, nectarines, tangerines, pineapples on there. And they'll say, well, why isn't my page ranking for green banana? It's not, because the green banana is diluted by all the other keyword phrases in there. So when Google sees that page, it says, well, it's a fruit store, but it's certainly not, I'm not going to rank it for green banana because it's not the most important thing on this page. So what you want to do is you want to do fruitstore.com/green banana and have a page dedicated to the keyword phrase that you want to rank. So the most important thing to do is, like, you don't want to say that I'm a massage therapist or I'm a chiropractor in Danvers, Beverly, Saugus, Salem, Peabody, Ipswich, Lynn, right? Because Google's going to say, well, what are they? Where are they located, right? They're not that smart. They're just going to say they're relevant for all of these keyword phrases and not relevant for one thing.
So, all right, let's do it. For instance, I'm going to selfishly utilize your brain for my own purposes right now, just as an example. So marketing consultant, or marketing agency, marketing firm, there's 8 marketing group. Yeah. I alternate what I call myself, but I am a team of one, for those of you who don't know. One of the things that I would like, my keyword phrase, I've been struggling with it, and it's hard because there's so many people who do what I do, but right. We get targeted in terms of some of the industries that we work in. So there's marketing consultants for the automotive industry, so that would be the keyword phrase. For me, I'm trying to market around actionable marketing. I'm sure you guys all pieced that together based on this group. So, but nobody's searching for actionable marketing. How would I go about, give me some free thoughts on that, my friend, while I have you.
So a couple tools that I love is Google Trends is one of my favorite tools, and Google Trends will show you terms that are popular and related terms that are also popular based on that. But also if you do a Google search, so Google search actionable marketing, and on the bottom of the page, the very, very bottom, there's going to be 8 or 10 words that are related to that phrase. And those are things that people have also searched for, kind of like Amazon does. People that bought this also bought this. So that's going to tell you what Google sees lots of other people searching for.
Do you recommend doing that in a browser window that you've already worked in, or incognito?
Incognito.
Okay, so for folks who don't know what incognito is, when you go to your Chrome browser, you right click on it and you can see it brings up an incognito window. That just eliminates any of your history and eliminates you from what you've been looking at, because using a browser, they've been tracking you. Your cookies are cached, all that stuff. So just wanted to be clear with folks.
Right, they're going to give you unfair search results based on what you've done. There's other things that you can look at where, if I love vertical, so there's nothing wrong with doing automotive marketing or just actually building your site and having different pages that talk about different verticals, but make sure that each page is optimized for that specific vertical.
So, okay, let's talk about that for a minute, because that can become overwhelming and a little bit overwhelming, I guess is the only word I have there. Is there a recommended amount of SEO rich pages that you would you would say people should build? 10, 5, 20? it's infinite, but like give us a range,
So this is going to be my favorite answer. It depends. Okay?
I know.
So if you want to rank for t-shirt or dating, you need a lot of content, right?
Mm-hmm.
Super, super popular and super, super broad. One of the things that we've noticed is that Google hides their rank results in plain sight. So if you Google a specific keyword phrase, someone was like, actually, there's a question just came up, vertical, can you translate? Vertical means that, let's see, marketing for hospitals would be one vertical, marketing for doctors would be another vertical, marketing for fire stations would be another vertical. It's just basically taking your business and picking a group of people that you want to go after and design a message around that group of people.
Or for small businesses, massage therapy for fertility, massage therapy for seniors, real estate for seniors, stuff like that. So going after a specific target audience or within an industry to break it down that way.
Like acupuncture for pregnancy. Like there's a lot of, people will look that up, and while there won't be as much search volume on that, the conversion rate will be higher because the people that are searching for acupuncture for pregnancy have a specific need that they need a specific solution for.
Landscaping Massachusetts.
Right.
Or landscaping Metro West. So if I do landscaping Massachusetts, landscaping Metro West, landscaping Wayland, Natick, Framingham, Sudbury, so on and so forth.
Or landscape design services in Wayland, or then you can go down to like stonework or patios or brickwork, those specific things. So what you really need is, I think I was saying before that Google hides their results in plain sight. So if you Google landscaping services in Wayland, you're going to notice that there's 10 results on page 1, and that there's going to be a very certain, each page is going to have about the same amount of keywords per page and text per page. We have a program that we built that goes and scrubs that or scrapes it, and will say, if you want to rank for this, one of the things you need to do is write 800 words and mention this word so many times and do that. But as a starter for you, the more content that you have that's relevant, the better. I know it sounds daunting and it sounds like a lot, but just like how you eat an elephant, right? One bite at a time. So you start writing your content to your vertical and then write some supporting text. So I'll give you an anecdote. There's a guy named AJ Jacobs that writes these wacky books. And one time he read the Encyclopedia Britannica and wrote about it. Another time he read the Bible from cover to cover and decided to act it out by actually throwing stones at people that he thought were adulterers. Right. And, his wife almost left him because he just went completely off the rails and wrote about it. So then he writes a book to thank everybody for contributing to his cup of coffee. So if he ended up building a website based on this book, he would probably rank in the top 3 for coffee, because in order for him to thank everybody for his cup of coffee, he had to thank the people that fixed the machines in Nicaragua. He had to thank the guy that designed the lid that got the right amount of smell and coffee into his mouth. He had to thank the people that actually painted the lines on the road in Manhattan so that the delivery trucks would get there. So if you think about all those spiders of things that are loosely related to coffee, he's building these beautiful content stacks that are somehow interrelated into coffee. Now that's a really thorough, awful way to think about, oh my God, I have to write all these pages. But ranking for coffee is also insanely difficult because there's hundreds of millions of pages on the internet that are talking about coffee.
And when we're talking about pages, to be more specific, you have your website, you have your home page, you have your about your services page, your pricing page, your contact page. You probably have a couple of other little sub pages. That's your main navigation areas. What Kevin and I are talking about for context is these are additional pages that are targeted toward keywords that aren't necessarily linked anywhere, in your navigation, but we haven't gotten there yet. So I'm just jumping the gun. When you're writing about things or blogging about things, you can link to these pages within your site as well. So you might have 10 or 15 additional SEO content pages, right?
Right.
That
So-
you'll have hidden. Do you want to expand upon that a little bit more? I know I'm jumping ahead.
So hidden in SEO don't go well, right? So
Yeah.
you don't want to mess up your navigation. You don't want to hide them from Google.
No, hidden
right?
is wrong word. I mean, they're
Right.
not linked within your navigation. I'll say
Yeah,
it.
you can put them in a blog and link them through. So let's just say that you wanted to talk about landscape architecture in Wayland. Then you would talk a little bit about landscape architecture and talk about how you've done it for some people in Wayland and put some testimonials from people in Wayland about there, and then maybe talk about some stonework at Town Hall in Wayland. That's a perfect page that talks about landscape architecture in Wayland. And then you can link it to, hey, we also do landscape design. We also do, patios and stonework, and you can link it to those pages that will all, the stonework page will talk about stonework. The landscape architecture page will talk about landscape architecture. Right. So
what about if you write a blog post that talks about, landscape architecture in New England, and you link, towns that we've worked in, and you link Wayland stonework or whatever back to that page you just wrote. So
there's a little misconception, and I think that people take advantage of, the SEOs take advantage of this. Google sees a blog post as a page. If you look at WordPress was actually started as a blog software and became a website software. So a blog post in HTML, when you launch it, looks to Google exactly like a page. So writing blogs and writing pages are the exact same thing. So if you take a blog and write all these things, if you're linking to other pages in your website, that's absolutely fine, and Google's going to give you credit for that.
What if you're not using WordPress?
It doesn't matter. You can use blogger.com. There's tons of things that you can use.
What about like some of these new platforms? So I do exclusively Squarespace or Wix or some of those. Those are the same thing, right?
Same thing. The only thing you have to be careful with Wix and Squarespace is they have these auto updates that go through and scrub out some of the SEO metadata that without telling you. We've run into that from time to time, that we built a site and all of a sudden it doesn't rank and all the stuff we did has disappeared. But that's probably something that they're going to fix over time.
I'm sure they would fix it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about images and metadata. So for pokes, people are commenting, it's so fun to get the live, but they like that tip.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about images.
Same thing.
Okay, but when you talk about images, and you and I have talked about this before, naming the image.
Yes.
Talk about that. And again, this applies to any kind of website for you folks out there. If you're uploading images, naming your image, regardless if it's WordPress, Wix, Blogger, whatever.
And I'm going to give you a super secret green banana tip.
Yes.
Okay. So, naming your images is really important. When you take a picture with your camera or your phone, it's got some weird A, B, C, D, one weird thing in there, right?
Yep.
That's got, it doesn't mean anything. So you can actually take that image on your computer and name it to what it is, Stonewall Wayland, right? Beautiful brickwork, right? So name it to what the image actually is. Google does have the ability to actually see inside the images now what they are, but you should name the images, right? When you're putting it into a web page, there's something called an alt tag. Mm-hmm. An alt tag is that thing when you mouse over the image, the thing that pops up. So Google sees that. It's actually for people that can't read. So it's disabilities. That's why you put alt tags in there. So an alt tag is another way to name an image. So you should do that too. But I have two super secret tips. So most people probably know that links from another site will help your search engine optimization. Links that are relevant. A super secret trick that we do is we go to imager.com, which is just this image hosting repository. We stick the image, we create an Imager account, we stick the image on Imager, and we port it into the site. So we actually share it into the site, and it looks to everybody on the site like the image is on your site, but it's actually on Imager, which creates an active relevant link there, and it increases your load speed time because that Imager isn't being hosted by your site.
That is a killer. You've shared this with me before years ago, and that is a totally killer tip. So
there's another tip too, that every picture that you take has something called EXIF data.
Uh-huh.
And EXIF data inside an image that you take with your phone or your camera will actually timestamp, put some like descriptive data inside the actual JPEG or the SVG, the image that you take, and it puts a lat long latitude and longitude where you took it. Right? So we use an EXIF editor, open that image, change the lat and long of the image to the location, like Wayland. So Google sees that image as being in the location, which makes it more relevant for the location that you want to target. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. So if I repeat that back to you, just to make sure I get it, and in layman's terms or more lame terms. So what you're saying is the XF data, it's the EXFT, if I'm not. Okay. EXIF.
Yep.
Data in the image, you go into an editor, an EXIF editor, and change the longitude and latitude coordinates of the image to wherever, if you have a physical location or a location that's more relevant to your business. For example, we're picking on me because I'm located in Wayland, Massachusetts. I would edit all my images location data to be here as I post them on my site. So that way it's an additional targeting trick.
Right. So what you're doing is saying to Google, so Google wants to see relevance. So if you want to rank for massage therapy in Wayland, you want to give Google as much relevant data. So Google says, yeah, this is important for massage therapy, and it's really important for Wayland. And a great way to do that is to have an image that's located where they think where you want it to be.
Super sneaky. That was like, I mean, I feel like that's not basic. That's like phase 2.
No, that's like, yeah, that's like crazy.
Sneaky.
I don't usually tell people that.
That's a good one. And now you're being recorded. Congratulations.
Yeah, excellent.
All right. So I'm going to move on because again, we've only scratched the surface of the questions and we're 20 minutes in. So we're just going to keep going. How we talked about, how do I figure out what keywords I should be focusing on? We talked about the Googling and the looking at the things at the bottom of Google when you put in your terms. I also wanted to mention one of the tricks that you've taught me is when you put the phrase in, you see the things that drop down. Those are also relevant, like the ones at the bottom too. So that's a super secret tip.
Yeah, but I think to even make it simpler than that, it is like two things. It's what you do and where you do it. Right. So there are only certain amount of things that people will search for. So I always say to people, how do you search for pizza? So rather than overcomplicating it, like you and your husband aren't searching for pepperoni, onion, and mushroom pizza in Wayland delivery, right? You're looking for best pizza in Wayland. Pizza
near me is usually what we search for.
Thin crust pizza, deep dish pizza. There's a couple of things there, but it's not these massive, long tail, silly variations. I mean, there could be people searching for it, but most people aren't. So if you're a dentist, it's pediatric dentistry, teeth whitening, emergency dentists, dental, braces, orthodontic. You look at your services page in the areas that you serve. Like we serve these 3 towns, and we do these 5 things. There's 15 keyword phrases that you need to think about.
Yep. So let's talk about, there's a couple of questions, especially with the crazy situation that we're all in the world at the moment. Location becomes irrelevant in a lot of cases for some of these services. How does the location-based stuff apply when you can work with anybody anywhere? Some of the questions we're getting are around international clients and, the location specific. Do you have, are remote services available, keyword phrases like that useful? Do you have any tips there?
Yeah, so remote keywords, that's a great question. Remote keywords would be, PT services remote. You'd also want to look at national terms like remote physical therapist, desktop physical therapist, physical therapy from home, searches like that. Again, Google Trends. I was doing a natural organic dog food proposal yesterday that does delivery. And if you Google organic dog food delivery in Google Trends after this meeting, the line goes hockey sticks right up, right? Because everybody is looking for it. So you can see that precipitous spike in those things.
Interesting. It's kind of like home delivery of like Wayfair.
Right.
Way
Right.
up. I mean, because you're stuck at home, you're kind of looking at your space going, what do I need to do? How do I need to
Another thing going
furniture?
for it too is the near me. Sorry to interrupt, but
No, go ahead.
the near me stuff. So if you're doing like physical therapy in Wayland, if you optimize your site to those keyword phrases, they will pop better for the near me searches.
And
So
what do you mean optimize your site? Can you be more, again, we're talking like very tactical level outside of the pages we talked about, you know, what are you talking about
so
optimize your site?
optimizing for stonework in Wayland, landscape architecture in Wayland. If you do that, if you're optimizing for what you do and where you do it, when people are in the area on a phone searching for landscape architect near me, Google's going to say, well, we have to give you the one that's most relevant to where you're located. So it knows, it pings that this person's driving around Wayland. We're going to give the most relevant search for that.
Okay. So other tips for optimizing your website, because I know there's a few more that are easy ones for this group. Naming your pages. Can you talk about, you know, and when you're on your website, there's a specific way that you should name your pages that are optimized for search. I know I've done it for some of the folks listening, and they've seen spikes from it. So I wanted you to share what that tip was.
Well, the first thing is your URL, right? Google basketball, it's wikipedia.com/basketball. The Wikipedia URL is not named basketball.com, right? So the keyword that you want to rank for. So tips.
Yes. Tips.
So I mean, so the most important thing to do is to figure out what you want to optimize for, and then you have to build your site based on relevance. So if you want to optimize for landscape architecture in Wayland, Massachusetts, then you build a page that is just focused on landscape architecture, Wayland, Massachusetts. Do not put every single thing you do on that page, because all it's going to do is dilute the relevance. And Google's job is to return the most relevant page, not website, but page for the keyword phrase that you want to rank for. So you would go in and make sure that the URL of your website, like kevslandscaping.com / architectural landscaping Wayland. The title tag would have that in there. You would have at least 800 words of text in there, and you should have supporting keyword phrases in there. And how to find a good tip to find supporting keyword phrases is Google landscape architecture in Wayland and look at the scroll all the way down to the bottom and look at the related terms below. Those are terms that you can put in there that Google says are related or supporting to that keyword phrase, and that's telling Google that your page is really important for that keyword phrase, because there's all these other words that support your main target phrase.
So one of the things I think, and if people didn't notice, this is a new video, a new format. We should have said that from the beginning. The audio cut out. So we're splicing us in. We're on flip sides and we're in different outfits. And so let's just be overt about it. But Kevin and I were watching the old version of this video, the original version of the video, and we wanted to make sure you guys were getting the right tips. And so jumping into optimizing your website and those phrases, you know, when you're saying the URL, you're talking about like the way that pages are named. So it would be kevslandscaping.com /Wayland architecture, or are you saying it should be, you know, architecture, you know, in Wayland? Does it matter?
You want to try to have your target phrase in the URL, like Wikipedia basketball page is wikipedia.com /basketball. You want to try to have the keyword phrase that you want to rank as the URL or the web address of the page.
So as simple as possible.
Yeah. And you don't have to, a lot of people bog themselves down with, I got to go buy this web address. And while web addresses will help, an older, more seasoned website address will usually outrank a brand new, fun keyword phrase website. But keep in mind, Wikipedia is ranking for the word basketball in every noun, verb, and adjective, and that is not in the word Wikipedia. It's wikipedia.com /basketball.
And then when you're creating these pages, you know, a lot of folks, you'll create I think we had talked originally about the number, the quantity of number
Mhm.
of pages you should make, and there's no set number to some of this.
Right.
I want to, and you and I have talked about this a lot. SEO is like a living, breathing animal in a lot of cases. You're not one and done. Is there a cadence for how often you should be looking at your pages and refreshing things and updating stuff?
So, all right. So a lot of that is, it depends on how competitive your phrase is, but the cadence and the frequency that you update is a little bit of a myth when it comes to search engine optimization. You can find websites that have ranked for pages for the last 15 years. Um, so don't overwhelm yourself with, I have to keep updating every day. If you're just adding content for the sake of content, it's not going to do you any good. If you're adding relevant content, then it's going to help you by building more relevance into the keyword phrase, right? So if you're talking about landscape architecture in Wayland and you want to talk about a project that you did, and link it to that page, that's going to be great. You don't have to do it, but it's absolutely going to help you. But just make sure that your content makes sense to the reader. So if you kind of boil SEO down, what Google's just trying to do, and I've said this time and time again, that Google's just trying to reward relevance. And if you're talking about a subject and you write another page that's related to that subject, just link it to it, and that's going to help you because you're building more content that is relevant and supportive content. Just writing stuff for the sake of writing it's a waste of time. Just going to go into space. There's what, 1 trillion pages on the internet, right? So adding 2 more is going to make it
Lost.
It's going to go lost.
Any other killer website tips now that we're a week later?
I talked about my image hosting, right?
Yes, we talked about that. We talked about naming images and metadata on images and hosting them an imager and all of that.
My EXIF, did I do the EXIF data tip?
Yep, we got that captured.
Okay, we got that tip.
Title tags on pages is the other one that I can't remember if we talked about, but just to highlight, this is one of my favorites. So making sure what's the best way to name. So title tags is when you have a browser open and you have multiple windows and there's tabs up there. When you're looking at those tabs, what that tab says, that's what we're talking about.
Right.
What are your tips there?
So you mean
you should name them a certain way for SEO, right?
Yeah, you should name them based on the keyword phrase that you want to rank for.
Right.
There's another tip is that a lot of people that know about SEO get all freaked out about duplicate content. And you have to think about what makes sense to, so Google doesn't like duplicate content and find and replace content, but they really don't like it when people are trying to game the system. So if you're a vet and you have 15 different clinics across the United States, why would you need to write how you help cats and dogs 15 different ways? It just doesn't make sense, right? What we have found is that Google likes to see at least 51% of the content be original.
Okay.
So that will help. So your entire page doesn't have to be original, but a great way to abate that is so you can have like boilerplate on the website, or you can say the same thing about cats and dogs in 15 different places, but then you can add like testimonials that will take up the other 49% of the content. And those testimonials can be original to the location. Does that make sense?
Yes. Does that apply to blog posts?
And that's another thing. A blog post is a web page, right?
Okay.
So
yes.
Remember like WordPress is just a blog, and people built it into this awesome website. Morphing website with cool plugins, right? But it's still a blog. A blog page and an HTML page are the exact same thing.
Cool. Well, as you shift in and out of darkness and light.
Oh yeah, that's the Lego room, kids bookshelf.
Superhero, Kevin Roy.
Yeah.
Well, it was a pleasure chatting with you again today. For all of you guys listening, Kevin's company is greenbananaseo.com. Look them up, contact them, tell them I sent you, tell them they're you watched our video, that you're from Jesse Cohen or Jesse Cohen Marketing, he and his team will hook you up. So with some extra love.
Yeah. And if you have any questions, like, that you want to send, we could always do a V2 with, there's tons and tons of tips and tricks.
Maybe we'll just do a monthly SEO chat with Jesse and Kevin. So
yeah, there's a lot of myths and silliness in SEO.
Debunking.
Yes.